guys, it's Nikki and welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. Today is a video all about Disney Cruise Line transportation. Should you use the Disney Cruise Line transportation or should you just use a Lyft or Uber or private transportation service? In today's video, I'm going to share my personal opinion and my experiences using both of those options. You guys are subscribed to the channel because I share lots of magical moments and just memories and content here at home, at the theme parks, and now at sea. So let's get started. So during our first Disney cruise, my husband and I, we landed in Orlando the night before, which I always recommend making sure you're at least in Orlando, Florida the night before your cruise sails, because just in case, gosh forbid, your flight gets canceled or something happens while you're traveling, you want to make sure that you're giving yourself plenty of time to arrive. So during our first sailing this year on the Disney Wish, we landed in Orlando and then we actually took an Uber and stayed at a hotel closer to port. So it honestly worked out great for us. Then we just took an Uber from our hotel over to the ship and it worked out great for us. Our hotel did offer a shuttle, but they only offered 2 times, and the times that we could get in and that we checked in at, that shuttle time just didn't work for us. So we just took an Uber. I believe it was maybe $10, so it was super cheap in order to do that. So I would say, if you cannot take Disney transportation because of where you're staying, that works totally fine. Parking is very expensive at the port, and so leaving your car there, if you're a local, like, yeah, that's totally fine. That's like pretty much your only option. But if you are renting a car, I don't know if I would recommend leaving it there. If you can like rent it and then return it, I don't know like how all of that works because we never rent vehicles, but just know that parking at the port is going to be a little bit pricey. So during our last cruise, we did do Disney transportation, and this is what I'm really excited to share with you since I haven't ever experienced this yet. So for our trip, we stayed at Pop Century a couple of days before our cruise, and during that time I received an email. Let me back up a little bit and say you do have to register for your Disney Cruise Line transportation ahead of time. So you can do it through the app. You can just ask your travel agent and they'll get it all set up for you. Or you can call Disney and just make sure that that is good to go. So for one way, it is $39 per person. Both ways, it is $78. So I don't like Disney. Can we just like round? Personally, I like us to round down, but like just make it 40 bucks or $80. Like, it's so hard to like try and remember, like, okay, because that's 78, blah blah blah, whatever. So just know that there is a fee for this transportation. However, it is a very smooth and we had a great experience. So for our Disney transportation, like I said, we got an email letting us know what time the shuttle was going to pick us up from Pop Century, what time our luggage needed to be ready, and all of other details regarding the shuttle to the port. So when I checked us in for our cruise, the first time I checked us in, it gave us a boarding group number and a time that we could arrive. Since we already had our Disney transportation set up, our boarding group was, I think, 3, and we could literally arrive at any time. It was wonderful, and I am truly convinced that it is because we had our Disney transportation that we got that great boarding number and we could arrive at any time, because they knew when we were going to get to the port. They knew what time they were going to be picking us up from Pop Century, and so they're like, yep, it's early in the morning. Totally cool with that. So overall, that was worth it. We were able to arrive at the port, check in, which was really smooth and quick because there weren't a ton of people there yet. And then we actually got there a little bit early before boarding, so we just had to wait for groups 1 and 2. And then once they called group 3, we were on the ship eating lunch, I feel like at least by 12 o'clock, if not earlier, which was awesome. Super easy, super smooth process. I want to note too, the boarding process and time is different for every cruise. For Jackson and I, it's the first cruise that we did. I think we had group 9 or 10, and we were boarding around, I think we ended up getting on the ship about 12:30 or 1 o'clock. And so the boarding process with the cruise that I just went on with my mom, it was a little delayed later in the day. So just know that every process is different. If it was like our first cruise, we would have been on the ship way earlier, but just know that that time frame and how long it takes is just different for every single cruise. Just depends on how quickly they're getting all of the guests from the previous cruise off and all the little things like that, because they only have probably a couple hours to truly like turn over the ship. So that's why your disembarkation day, they're like trying to get you out super quick because they have a whole nother group coming on that same day. So let's get back to the transportation. So like I said, I received that email. I did not read our full email, so I did not know we had to have our bags ready at 7 a.m. And honestly, that's kind of frustrating because we didn't have to leave until 9. We were out super late before at a DVC event in Epcot, and our bags just weren't gonna be ready. So when that person came knocking at the door at 7 a.m., we just told them like, sorry, we didn't see that we needed our bags to be ready, which truly we didn't. And then I talked to a person on the phone and they're like, yeah, you can just bring them down, it's fine. And once we got all of our bags ready, we were down there by about 9 o'clock. You had to arrive between 9 and 9:15, and then our shuttle was gonna leave about 9:45. So what I learned is that you don't have to have your bags ready that early. Just let them know so then somebody doesn't come to your room to try and get your luggage. So once we got down there, it was totally fine. We went over and gave our luggage to the Disney Cruise Line cast member. There were 2 of them there helping us, and we just gave them our luggage. We had our Disney Cruise Line luggage tags already on our luggage that we're going to check with them. You will receive your luggage tags before your cruise. If you don't, no worries. Some people just don't receive their luggage tags. Not a big deal. You can totally get them when you get there. Whether or not you're taking Disney transportation, you will receive luggage tags. So then you don't have to lug all of your bags up to your stateroom. We're gonna do all of that for you. And I highly recommend letting them because the hallways are small, it's carpeted, it's hard, elevators aren't big. So just let them take your luggage and make sure you have all of like your check-in documentation, any medication that you might need that afternoon, but just give them your luggage. You will not regret it. After we checked in with the cast members, gave them our luggage, and we hung out for a little bit, and then we got on our shuttle. Our ride was probably about an hour and a half to the port. Super easy. They had like a cute little Disney show on for the kiddos. I popped in my AirPods, watched the show on my phone, and the time went really quickly. It was super easy, super smooth process, and I would highly recommend using Disney transportation if you are coming from any of the resorts. They just make it so easy. I would always recommend just doing that because then you don't gotta worry about it. You know somebody's gonna pick you up there. You don't have to take an Uber. Lug your luggage there, lug it back. No big deal whatsoever. Stress-free. Do Disney transportation. Once we got to the port, we pulled up and then we just waited for everyone to get off of our shuttle and we walked in together. They allowed us to go in on this like side door area, and again, that check-in process was super smooth. For Disney transportation, like I mentioned, you can do it one way, which is what we did. You can do it round trip. If you do it one day, you will have to call, your travel agent will have to call for you, but other than that, it's super simple. So for the round trip transportation, they will pick you up from the port and take you to the airport. So they don't have to take you back to a Disney Resort, you can go straight to the airport. They'll also pick you up from the airport. Again, I do recommend getting in the night before, so you can stay at the hotel airport right there. It's super nice. I believe it's a Hyatt. And then you will take that Disney transportation from the airport over to the port, and again, very smooth, easy process. Just know on your disembarkation day, it might be a little bit early in the morning, like earlier than you would leave if you had somebody picking you up, or if you were just like calling an Uber or a Lyft. So just know that for that Disney transportation, you're gonna have an early time, because again, they're gonna want to like try and get you off of that ship. So if you're taking that Disney transportation, it's probably gonna be like an 8:30-ish departure, most likely. Don't quote me on it, I have not done that yet, but just from experience of talking to other guests, that departure is normally early in the morning. So now let's compare our experience and think of like the pros and cons between using a different service besides the Disney Cruise Line. So again, I really think it depends. One, when you arrive. If you're arriving in the Orlando International Airport the same day as your embarkation day, I would highly recommend using Disney Cruise Line transportation, because then they know like where you're at. They know you're supposed to be coming with them. With an Uber or a Lyft or anything like that, that gets kind of sketchy because they don't know where you're at. If you're supposed to take that Disney Cruise Line transportation and you don't show up, then they might be able to contact you, and maybe they can help you out somewhere or get like another transportation if your flight is delayed or something like that. They do recommend like the latest arrival time to the airport is 1:45 p.m. if you're arriving that same day. But again, ooh, that would make me way too nervous, way too stressed. Too much anxiety would happen. So easier is just to arrive the day before. If you're wanting to arrive the day before, which I highly recommend, and you want to take Disney Cruise Line transportation, you will be having to stay at a Walt Disney World Resort room, or you can stay at that Hyatt Regency Orlando International Airport. So either way, you can use a Disney transportation when you stay at those two places. Just know that when you're using Disney transportation, from my experience, your boarding group is going to be a little bit better. Your arrival times might be a little bit earlier, so you can get on whatever ship you're sailing on sooner. Sooner the better. The more things you get to do, the more great food that you get to eat. So that is a huge pro in my opinion. So now, having the experience of doing the Disney Cruise Line transportation and thinking about our first trip, we did like staying close to the port, so it would not change any of that. However, after our cruise, we went and stayed at Disney's Riviera Resort for a week. And so that is the one thing I would have changed. We Ubered from the port to the Riviera. And next time I would definitely take that one-way transportation to the Riviera. Yes, we might have had to get off the ship a little bit earlier than what we did, but it would have just been a lot of smoother transition. I believe that they take your bags to the motor coach in the shuttle, but don't quote me on that. Next time when we go on a Disney cruise, fingers crossed that maybe we can do it both ways, or at least to the Walt Disney World Resort or to the airport, so then I can learn how all of that works. If you have to go pick up your luggage and then go to the motor coach, or if you can just leave and they take your luggage over there for you. I'm not 100% sure on how that works. If you know and you've experienced, make sure you leave a comment down below to let me know. I feel like they would take your bags over there for you, which would be a huge pro, but not 100% certain on how that works. Because like with customs and everything, now I'm thinking that they probably can't, but I don't know, maybe, who knows. Next time we'll figure it out. But if you are going to the airport, or you are going to a Walt Disney World Resort, I would absolutely recommend just using the Disney Cruise Line transportation. I understand that it might be a little pricey if you do have a larger family, but that is also another pro if you do have little ones. Ubers and Lyfts and some private transportation do not have car seats and everything for you, but on those motor coaches they don't have to have car seats. And so just know like that is another option for you as well. So if you are coming in just for a Disney cruise, or even if you are going to the resorts, you wouldn't have to technically bring a car seat, because you could, let's say you're arriving at the airport, you stay at the Hyatt Regency right then and there, and then you can take your Disney Cruise Line transportation over to the port using the motor coach and their options. And then after you're sailing, you can disembark and then take that motor coach back to the Walt Disney World Resort or even to the airport, and you don't have to have a car seat at any of those interactions. Even when you're on Walt Disney Resort property, you can use the buses. So it is just like another great option for you not to have to bring a car seat with you. I'm not a parent, but I know that parents have to bring lots of different items on vacation. So just knowing that there is one less thing that you have to drug around is probably super nice. So definitely do what's best for your family, but I would highly recommend using that Disney Cruise Line transportation the next time that you are headed to the Port Canaveral or any of your other options for Disney Cruise Line. So overall, I would highly recommend using Disney Cruise Line's transportation. We've never had anything but great experience with Disney Cruise Line transportation, whether that is with the cruise line or when we had the Magical Express. Please bring that back, Disney. Oh my gosh, it was amazing. I loved it. But we really enjoyed using it during our last Disney cruise. A quick final note on this would be that I only have experience with the Disney Cruise Line transportation from Port Canaveral. However, no matter what port they are in, they have this option. So from New Zealand or in Barcelona or Australia, anywhere in Europe, New York, Miami, Hawaii, wherever they have any sailings, they do have this option for you. So just make sure you ask your travel agent, head to like the Disney Cruise Line website and check out what their transportation options are. But know this just isn't for Port Canaveral. They have those different options for you to help you get to the port and be able to embark on your Disney cruise. Alright guys, so that's gonna be it for today's video. Just wanted to share my experience about using that Disney Cruise Line transportation. Again, highly recommend it. Do what's best for your family, but having Ubered and Lyft and now using the Disney Cruise Line transportation, Disney Cruise Line transportation is just a little bit easier. So again, you have to do whatever is best for you and your family. However, for us, definitely highly recommend that Disney Cruise Line option. Make sure you leave any questions you have for me that is something just about a Disney cruise or about this transportation option that we have used. Always happy to get those answered for you. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Lots of fun magical content headed your way from at home and theme parks and now at sea. So that is super, super exciting. I hope you guys have a magical rest of your day, and I will see you real soon. Bye.